What's up guys, today I'm going to be talking about something a little less serious and a little bit more fun. And today I'm going to be talking about my zombie kit. And today I'm going to be primarily going over how I'd set up my backpack for a zombie survival scenario and just the kind of mindset I would take in this kind of post-apocalyptic scenario. First thing to start off with, and primarily where this kit focuses, is going to be on the pack. And I apologize, you guys won't be able to see me very well, but I want to be able to fully show this kit in all its entirety very clear. Main pouch. The first thing I'm going to have is a big roll of, this is military grade, like duct tape essentially is what it is. It's like, I'm not exactly sure what this is called per se. It doesn't necessarily say on it, but it's a lot like duct tape. It's a military grade. It is military green. I really like this stuff. And like I said, this is just a big roll. This one's unused, and this would overall, I think, be a great addition for bushcraft, survival, and zombie situations, because you never know what you'll have to tape together. And tape is one of those really great cordages because it is sticky itself, so you don't necessarily have to use knots with it. You can just quickly use it to put things in as a thing for bandages or working with bandages to put it on a person. So I really like duct tape as a thing. Piece is, and you guys won't fully be able to see this, and it's because I put it at the very bottom and put everything else on top of it. But the next part is a kind of thinner plastic orange translucent kind of tarp. You guys have seen this. If you guys are familiar with the elevated shelter build, you'll be familiar with this piece. I put this as the roof on the elevated shelter, but it's the same piece. And I really like that. As far as orange goes, it's a very translucent orange, so it doesn't attract a whole lot of attention. And I've never really seen zombies be attracted to a particular color, maybe movement or other things like that, but I don't think they are particularly attracted to color, so that's never really been a concern. Other things in here, of course, I'm rocking the Nalgene with the GSI Glacier for water. That's an extremely important thing. One thing I don't have on here, but I would incorporate, is the water bladder. I just don't have that on here right now because it would likely freeze. But if this was all in a warmer time, I would definitely have the water bladder. Some people dislike water bladders, but I've ran them for years and really love them. The things I'm carrying are the Silky Big Boy for the saw. I wouldn't be going all out with the full folding buck saw because that could be a little bit too large. I think that's a little overkill. With this pack, I'm trying to keep mobility in mind, and being an extremely mobile unit would be very important in this type of situation. So I don't want anything too big or bulky. Other things I also have in here, I have several knives all throughout the kit. That's because I think knives are going to be one of the most important things for this type of kit. So the first knife that would not be on me, but rather in the pack, is the Tops Fieldcraft. It's an extremely trustable knife. I really can depend on this thing for doing anything. It's not an extremely combative knife, but for fieldcraft or overall building things, or just as an overall woods tool for dressing game animals, it has an extremely proven track record, and it's an extremely durable knife. That I'll have to pull out here is lighting options. I think lighting would be an extremely important thing in this situation because of course the electricity grid would likely be down, so you're going to have to be providing all of your own light if you want to see. And especially up here in Alaska where it gets so dark so quickly, especially in the winter, you're going to need light. If you want to do anything past like 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, you're going to need light. So I have a headlamp. This is a black diamond, and I have the Streamlight Stylus Pro is just what I threw in here. The reason why I chose these two, I would probably go with something higher lumened, but in particular the reason why I chose these two instead of something that had a CR123 battery is that both of these lighting options take 2 AAAs, and that means that they're completely interchangeable. If I find or need to carry a whole bunch of AAAs, they'll be interchangeable as well in a really bad situation. If, say, I use the headlamp more and I wear these batteries out, but I haven't worn the flashlight's batteries out, I can take these two batteries and put it in here, because, or vice versa, because they both take two AAAs. They're exactly interchangeable. And I really like that part. So that's the reason why I chose something that's a little bit less powerful. I do have more powerful flashlights, and I'd likely carry them on person, but for the fact of interchangeability and batteries, that's why I carry those. This is once again another knife. I think there's 3 knives in this actual pack. And the next knife is the SE3. I really like this knife, and this would be a backup neck knife option for me. This is definitely a more combative knife, and in a zombie survival situation, I would definitely be carrying, as far as neck knives go, I'd definitely always be carrying a combative option, because with neck knives, the ease of reach on them makes them a very versatile and very great tool for a defensive option. As well, it's overall, the SE3 is a very good all-around tool for just general crafting, dressing of game animals, and that such. That I have in this main compartment is just a survival blanket, and you'll see a lot of cover options in here and a lot of warmth options, because once again, I don't know at what point I would need to leave, but you know, with zombies, I'm guessing here that, you know, the environment would not likely change. It would just be added to zombies to the list of problems. So I still have to figure that I have to deal with very cold weather, and once again, needing to be a very mobile unit. I can't have extremely bulky things, or, you know, want to set up a fireplace per se. So the importance of having, you know, coverings like Mylar blankets or tarps becomes a lot more important in that kind of piece. Here is going to be in this pouch, or rather this inside pouch. This is generally where I keep the camera equipment, but obviously in a zombie apocalypse, I would not be carrying any camera equipment. It'd be pretty useless. So I've kind of replaced it with other things. I don't have this thing completely filled, because honestly, I just am not a fan of carrying a whole lot of stuff, but I do have a few options. And so the first thing you guys can probably see is a compass. Once again, you know, these are just basic tools that you're still going to need regardless to whether you have zombies or not. You're still going to need to know where you're going, where you're traveling. So having a compass of some sort is still very important, just as important as a survival situation, just a little bit different. I also still have snacks in here like Cliff Bars and stuff like that. In a zombie situation, the likelihood of being able to scavenge food goes up significantly, so I don't have like a full course of meals in here. It may be better to incorporate meals in here. I'm not sure. I'll let you guys tell me on that. But other than that, I have the Bark River Knives Bushcrafter in here. That's primarily because it's just another extraordinarily trustable knife by me for bushcraft and overall just life. It's a knife that I've used for many years. I'm very familiar with. As well, I also have a Leatherman Surge. I wouldn't generally carry something like a multi-tool that large if I was in a bush kind of setting or like a survival setting, but the possibility of having to interact and use or repair man-made things, it goes up highly, such as vehicles. It goes up significantly in a zombie situation, so having something like a multi-tool that's very capable is definitely recommended. Then I also have a light medical kit here. This is just an extremely light medical kit, but that's because in here, and I'll show in here in a few minutes, I have a full-on military IFAK that has, you know, a cat tourniquet, Israeli bandages. This is for all the really bad stuff, but still, even in a zombie situation, you don't want to mess around with any kind of cuts or damage of any sort to yourself. So this is for the major stuff, and this is for the minor stuff. I also have more ibuprofen in here. So that's always good and very handy, because I found out the more ibuprofen, just because this has 2 tablets of ibuprofen, but that's not very much. I would definitely want to carry more, just because ibuprofen, as far as a pill, is an extremely useful kind of all-around pill that helps a lot. And that, you guys know an IFAX in here, but in this area, this is generally where I've always carried Paracord. But of course, especially in a survival or a zombie situation, Paracord's going to be just as useful. I mean, it's like the duct tape of cordage. So, you know, having duct tape as well as the duct tape of cordage is extremely important in this situation, because you'd likely be jury-rigging a lot of different things, you know, trying to make things work when they don't really want to. So having duct tape and paracord is very important. Other than that, I'll go into this side container. I will get into what's underneath this in a few moments. But what's on this side container, you guys already know the IFAX on the other side, but this is where I carry most of my ammunition. There are a few other things like fire starters, and so there are a few hand warmers in here. As I discussed earlier, you know, you have to keep yourself warm, especially in a mobile situation. It's still going to be very important. So in this pouch, I have a whole bunch of hand and toe warmers, but next to that is CCI mini mags, CBI shorts, both by CCI, and then Remington Vipers, all for the 22. I definitely subscribe to the fact that the 22 is pretty much the way to go for a zombie situation. You know, primarily you don't want to be making a lot of noise. You don't want to be leaving a large footprint that you were there. Overall, you just want to try and operate, especially if you're going to be a solo unit, you want to try and operate very under the radar. And so I very much like the 22 for that, plus the fact that, I mean, you guys could see there was easily 300 rounds right there. I'd probably be carrying even more if this was full-on zombie survival, because I don't know when I'd be resupplying on 22, but I'd want to have a lot of it, probably closer to 500 rounds, and that's pretty good. So other than that, what's on the pack is the GBA Scandinavian Forest Axe. Some may question the reason why I'm carrying a Scandinavian Forest Axe, but you do have to keep in mind, you know, I live up here in rural Alaska, so having an axe that's very good for building things out in the woods is very important, because the majority of my time, or you know, where my shelters would be set up would likely be in the woods. I probably would not be building shelters in a city, so, or trying to stay overnight in cities. So having a very good pack axe would be important. That is probably one of the points that would be more negotiable, would be this axe, but I still think it'd probably stick with. Go over what's underneath the pack, or what this pack is sitting on. You guys should be pretty familiar with this by now, but that is a tarp. And once again, it goes back to the entire thing of shelter and keeping you warm, but as a field expedient thing. You guys can see how this is a, what is this? I think it's a 10 by 12. It's a 10 by 12. Yeah, it's a 10 by 12 under there. And you can see how easily that 10 by 12 packs up right underneath the backpack. But yet you still have a huge amount of coverage when you unravel it. It can cover a really big area. That, coupled with the Mylar blanket plus the orange tarp, really help to lock down a great mobile shelter. Pretty much including this kit is in here. You guys have noticed that there really overall throughout this pack has not been a large amount of fire starting stuff, but, and this was definitely one of my more larger debates about if this was a zombie kit, would I keep it? I still think I would, just because, like I said, I'm still based in Alaska. This isn't New York City where, you know, you're more urban. And so is a pouch in here. This leather pouch is just filled with a whole bunch of different fire starting things, all natural materials. Everything in there extremely flammable. That's where I keep the flint and steel kit, ferro rods, birch bark, just everything you need to get a fire started in this kit. So that, once again, is going to be extremely important for being mobile, and having surefire methods of getting fire started is extremely important in this type of scenario. I would definitely be carrying, you know, more combative knives on me. Definitely I'd be carrying the Pull Force N1 as my first neck knife, and then I'm not exactly sure what I would carry on the belt, but maybe a Schrade SCHF 42D, because it is a little bit more combative, especially than the Tops Fieldcraft. But I might also opt for something larger. I'm not exactly sure, but I definitely have the Pull Force N1 as a neck knife, because that is an extremely combative knife, and it would work very well for the situation. Guys, hopefully you've enjoyed this whole look at the pack and what I would carry for a zombie situation. It's, I think, definitely different than most people's carry, but I think at the same time pretty awesome. As always, to comment, like, share, subscribe, and let me know what your thoughts or revisions, changes would be on this pack. You know, do keep in mind that, once again, I have to have this pack set up in a more rural way because I'm not even close to a large city. You know, I'm still in a very rural area. So, you know, the necessities of things like axes and things to start fire would be a lot more important where I'm at, as opposed to in a city where you can likely find shelter very easy. That is it, and I'm out.